Ethan spat at me. Even now, you're still thinking about that child. You clearly haven't learned a lesson. There's no way I'm letting that child leave the Moore residence alive. With that, he raised his foot again, ready to kick me back into the pool. I closed my eyes in despair. Fear of drowning filled my heart. Just then, the front door of the villa slammed open. Jeremiah rushed over, panic written all over his face as he shouted, "Stop right there." Jeremiah's voice cut through the chaos like a blade of ice, sharp enough to make Ethan's raised foot freeze midair. The man stood in the doorway, his tailored black suit still bearing faint traces of dust from a hasty trip. No doubt he dropped everything the moment he sensed something was wrong. His usually calm gray eyes were now ablaze with a fury so intense that even the air around him seemed to crackle. Before Ethan could react, Jeremiah had crossed the patio in 3 long strides. He didn't waste a second on words. His fist connected with Ethan's jaw with a sickening crack that echoed across the pool. Ethan stumbled backward, clutching his face, blood already seeping through his fingers. Hazel screamed and tried to step between them, but Jeremiah's glare alone sent her shrinking back, her face ashen. Jeremiah didn't spare them another glance. He dropped to his knees beside me, his hands trembling as he fumbled with the rope binding my wrists. The rough fibers had rubbed my skin raw, but I barely felt the pain, not when his fingers brushed my cheek, gentle as a feather, contrasting sharply with the rage still simmering in his eyes. "Audrey," he whispered, his voice breaking. "Look at me. Are you okay?" The baby. I couldn't speak. My lips were swollen and cut from the porcelain, and every breath sent a knife-like pain through my abdomen. I just nodded weakly, tears mixing with the blood on my face as I looked down at the growing stain on my dress. The baby's movements had gone still, and panic coiled around my throat, tight enough to suffocate. Jeremiah's gaze followed mine, and his face paled. He ripped the rope apart with a single brutal yank, his strength, usually controlled, now unhinged by fear, and lifted me into his arms. I winced at the movement, but his hold was careful, as if I were made of glass. "Help is on the way," he said, pressing a kiss to my forehead. His voice was steady now, but I could feel the tremor in his arms. "The ambulance will be here in 5 minutes. You and the baby are going to be fine. I promise." Behind us, Ethan finally recovered from the punch. He spat a mouthful of blood onto the concrete and snarled, "Uncle, you can't just—" "Shut up," Jeremiah said, not turning around. His tone was cold, colder than the winter winds that swept through Beverton. "If you so much as breathe in her direction again, I'll make sure you never set foot in the city again. Do you understand?" Ethan's jaw tightened, but he didn't dare argue. He always feared Jeremiah, feared that quiet, unyielding authority that made even the most powerful men in Beverton bow their heads. But Hazel, ever the instigator, stepped forward again, her voice shrill with desperation. "She's lying. The baby isn't yours, Jeremiah. She cheated on Ethan, on you, and now she's trying to pass off some bastard child as a Moore." Jeremiah's head snapped toward her. For a second, I thought he might strike her too. His hands were curled into fists, his knuckles white, but he just stared at her, his eyes so empty of emotion that it was more terrifying than any anger. "Is that what you think?" he said. His voice was low, almost conversational, but it made Hazel flinch. "You think I'd marry a woman and not know if she's carrying my child? You think I'd spend 3 years fighting for this baby, flying to every clinic in the world begging doctors to help us, and not recognize the life growing inside her?" Hazel's mouth fell open. She glanced at Ethan, who looked just as shocked. No one in Beverton knew about Jeremiah's infertility, not really. He'd never spoken of it, and David had covered it up to protect the family's reputation. The only people who knew the truth were me, Jeremiah, and the handful of doctors who treated us. You can't have kids," Ethan stammered, his confidence crumbling. "Everyone says everyone is wrong," Jeremiah said. He shifted me in his arms, turning to face them fully. "Audrey and I tried for 3 years. 3 years of hope and disappointment and endless tests. This baby, he's a miracle. And you too." He looked at Ethan and Hazel, his gaze lingering on the blood on Ethan's face and the stains on Hazel's shoes. "You tried to kill him. You tried to kill her." The sound of sirens cut through the air, growing louder by the second. Jeremiah didn't wait for them to arrive. He carried me toward the front door, his steps quick but steady. As we passed Ethan and Hazel, I looked back.